What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about money, and I wrote down a couple notes here on my new little nifty iPhone, and so I don't forget certain key points of this topic. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this whole journey that I've been talking about, where I quit my job and I'm doing this whole online venture, social media stuff, it's like I would be completely ridiculous and delusional if I didn't have some sort of backing, and obviously I did have some sort of emergency fund. So also, like, the first couple videos I made talking about everybody living paycheck to paycheck, how was I able to build that? And this is absolutely by means no financial advice. Don't take anything from me. I am a 24-year-old Midwestern American who quit his job to do social media stuff. But obviously some of you guys do want some tips, and so I'll just explain the story of how I did it. And so I guess starting off the whole, like, key point of this topic, like the basis, is that, like, what really broke the mold for me was that once I started to look at money as I'm never spending money, I'm never working for money, money isn't even real, it's just an object that we made up. We're always spending time and energy. Time and energy are two things that are different. I'll explain in like a little bit, but they're somewhat similar because once I started looking at, okay, let's say back when I had a job and I wasn't making online stuff where, let's say I make a video, I could make any certain amount of money, I would work for about $15 an hour. And so let's say I went grocery shopping and I spent $60 on groceries. I just spent 4 hours of work. Obviously, we're not going to talk about taxes. We're just going to make this a very simple mathematical equation here for us to talk about here. So I would have spent 4 hours of work. And that's, if I work 8 hours a day, I had to work half a day for those groceries. And we all know that $60 in groceries is like bare minimum, barely anything these days. So, anyway, that's just a key example. Now, anything you spend, you look at it whereas you are spending your time and your energy. You are no longer spending money. $100 no longer is $100. It is how many hours and how much energy you had to put in to make the $100. Now, the reason why I said time and energy is a little bit different is because when you're making those like per rate dollar amount per hour, we've all been there before probably, where you just kind of try to milk the clock. And instead of actually doing, okay, if you were to just say, hey boss, I finished all my work in 45 minutes, so for these extra 15 minutes this hour, where's some more work? You're still getting paid $15 an hour. And then if you're smart enough to realize, or even if you're just trying to be a nice person and you just raised that way, eventually you realize, like, wow, I'm really getting screwed here out of this deal, and I don't get paid extra for the extra work I do. So then you end up just kind of milking the clock. And so once you get out of the whole hourly pay, then it is kind of more so you are now, it's time and effort are time and energy. I guess energy and effort I'm using in the kind of simultaneously, but time and energy are now no longer really the same thing, because the energy it takes me to make one of these videos, it could take me 2 hours to make a video, record it, make a thumbnail, post it, and then, like, all that, try to, like, promote it or whatever you do if you do that. Probably more than 2 hours if it's but you kind of understand what I'm saying. Then it could make me money for the rest of forever if this video continues to get views and if it's monetized. Obviously, obviously my YouTube isn't, but this is just the idea that we're talking about here. And so that is kind of changed my kind of whole mindset towards money, is realizing that I'm never spending just money, I'm actually spending my time. And you can get as much money as you possibly can imagine if you can find ways to do it, but you can never get time back. And also, you don't even know how much time you've already spent. So maybe you've already spent more time than you have left. Maybe you don't even have that much time left and you're spending it, like, extremely crazily. So you're, like, hoarding your money when you should be hoarding your time. Sounds delusional, kind of crazy, but it's a very interesting mindset that I think will help out. Also, what really helped me out is this is not financial advice, I'm telling you this for sure, but I'm 24 now. So from the age of 20 to 21, I allowed myself to waste money. That sounds like completely opposite of what we're talking about here, but I realized that, okay, I'm pretty young still in the grand scheme of things. Let's say I live to 60, 70, which this goes completely, I do understand, I realize I'm completely backtracking from the last thing I just said, but You got to look at it like this. If you are already in the mindset where you're wasting all your money, and wasting, I mean, because of like blowing things on stuff that you don't need and stuff that you never really use or look at, or just to kind of, keeping up with the Joneses is what they say. That's a really old-fashioned term, but that's if you know what that means. Yeah, so pretty much, I allowed myself for my 20-year-old year and my 21-year-old year I allowed myself to spend as much money as I possibly wanted. And for me, it sounds so corny, I don't even want to admit it, I bought a lot of Pokemon cards. It was 2020, 2021, so like, it was quarantine and everything, so we were all on lockdown, and Pokemon cards were a big thing for me, and so I spent thousands of dollars on bullshit. And looking back, my mindset these days, I think that's dumb. But at the time, I justified it every day. I could find 1,000 reasons to justify it and why it was a good reason. And so, but after doing that and spending thousands of dollars, probably tens of thousands of dollars on, like I said, bullshit, not just Pokemon cards, there's a bunch of other things in there I probably spent on, like collectibles and just whatever. As you can see now, my room is pretty bare, so I ended up selling it all because my mindset changed. But anyway, that's for other topics. But after doing that for a couple years, I actually completely had a mindset change. I think that was a big reason why my mindset has such a big change. Not only including all of the like other people I'm watching online on the internet that are probably influencing my way, kind of influencing like the way I think, but I realized that like that's not really bringing me any sort of fulfillment. There's really I had no real passion in my hobbies, because any hobby I had was just what's next, like I got this new version, I got this new restock, now what's the next one going to be? Like there's always one every few months. That's how all these companies work. So like whether that's shoes, clothes, trading cards, anything, there's always a new one every few months. So if you're going to be in the spending mentality, you're never going to have enough. You're always going to have to buy the next thing, and eventually you'll never be satisfied, because if you're like aware enough to your surroundings and what you're doing and the way we look at money and how hard we work and slave our lives away for money, eventually you'll realize, like, what am I doing? Like, this is completely absurd. And so then the last thing I have on here is journaling really helped me realize what I actually wanted in life. And I'm going to make probably multiple videos of their own little sense about all about journaling and about how that was a huge thing for me. I started back when I was 21, and I still journal just about every day. I'll show you over here. I got my journal right here. Yeah, I write in it all the time, and pretty much every morning I'll jot down a few things that I'm thinking. And it's like, okay, Josh, that's a stupid tip. Like, what does that have to do with money? Well, journaling is actually what helped me realize that, like, everything I was doing in my life was not bringing me any fulfillment, passion, or happiness. And to get where I am now, for the longest time, I told myself, okay, I have to ignore my feelings. Forget happiness. I'm never going to be happy. So just forget even looking at that as a goal. That's not even relevant or possible. And so then I ignored my feelings. And so I just tried to look for fulfillment and passion. And once you actually get fulfillment and passion through, for me, it was content creation and being able to, not have to be slaved away at a 9-to-5 every single day. I actually ended up being happy out of nowhere, like surprising, like crazy, right? It's insane to think. And so now I don't know what your passion or fulfillment is, but I do know that I think that journaling could probably help you out, whether, like, no matter your circumstance. You don't have to journal every day like I do, I don't even think you should make like a set amount. Not with journaling. Maybe when you start, you might want to, like, okay, I'll do 5 minutes every day, because you have to build a habit. It takes like 21 days, I think is the studies, for a human being to build like a habit or something. And after that, you pretty much can't stop. So just do it for that long, and just do like 5 to 10 minutes a day. You'll be surprised how many days there will probably be where you will want to do like 15-minute, 30-minute journal sessions where you'll just write 3 to 5 pages. You'll be so surprised once you get into the whole hobby and the whole habit of things. But yeah, to be honest, that is really a big reason how, like, money... Also, I could do a lot of videos talking about money, how money's affected me in my life, being an American, so many different things revolving around the whole subject. Money is a very touchy topic, but it's also the number one thing that people ask you about. Like when you meet someone, the first thing they want to know is how you make money, how you make a living, what you do for your job. And so, it isn't really that personal, but at the same time, people are really weird about it somewhat, and it seems. So, I don't know. I just really like to share my story of things, and maybe anything that I talk about mindset-wise, someone out there can relate to, or bounce off of in the comments if you have anything maybe you wanted to talk about that I touched on. Either way, though, I really do think that a lot of people who waste money, the majority of people in my lives live as if they're going to live till they're 60 or 70, and then they don't even really save for retirement, which is insane. But then, like, I don't understand how wasting money, I say wasting, because now my current mindset, I've done it, and I look at it as I wasted it. But I understand for other people, they're not like me, like, right now. They don't think how, like, I think right now. So, it's not wasting to them. Just like how I could, they'll find 5+ different reasons of why they could justify why they bought those things. And then also having nothing in their bank account, and it's all in credit. So, I don't know. But, like, now I'm passing judgment on other people. But, you know what? I don't know. It's really weird over here. But anyway, I just want to hear your guys' opinions, so feel free to leave your thoughts and opinions about money in the comments, or your money plans. If you have a savings account, if you even plan to retire, what your plan is for the rest of your life in regards to your career, or if money is a actual big thing in your life, or when you were growing up. For me, growing up, we never really had any money, so it was a big thing because we never had it. We always wanted it. It was always in discussion because we were always trying to find a way to get it. Now, as an adult, where I live alone, and I literally just work for myself, I find it hard to waste money because I grew up with an insufficient fund all the time, and I work hard for my money, just like I realize everybody else does. Or I guess not everyone, we all know that, but a lot of people do, the majority of people do. So, some people don't work at all, and then, that's just, I don't know. But either way, I would love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions, so feel free to leave those down below in the comments. I plan to do a lot more talks like this, because now that I got this tripod here, it's a lot easier for me to do these, and I feel like these angles are a lot more, not to say professional, but I like them more. I think this is a lot better. And so, yeah, feel free to check out any of my other socials. I'll leave them down below, like my Patreon or my Instagram or whatever, if you want to chit-chat with me. I reply to every comment, and yeah, I will talk to you guys soon, so I'll see you in the next one.